As I've watched these trailers, it's just like, as you were talking in the beginning, it's like insane that Colin Farrell is behind, and then like, and the voice, like you can't even tell he's Irish. Like it's just like a real New Yorker.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
What he does is actually nothing short of incredible. And I messaged him the other day, and I was like, once I had seen some of the episodes, and I was like, dude, I don't think I realized while we were doing it, because I was so in my own head about, doing the performance and living in this moment and this moment, stepping back and watching his performance in this thing, it's like, I don't know how he doesn't go and like just win all the stuff there is to win, because it's really he's genuinely phenomenal in the show, and so is everybody else.
Did you guys both stay in character when you weren't on set? Like, did you try to keep the stutter so it would be natural?
I would go out into the world with the stutter a lot. I would practice it all the time. I'd be at home practicing it all the time. Yeah. But he'd come in and out of the accent sometimes.
Oh wow.
And sometimes it was like a 50% accent. He would like keep the gruff, but he'd be Irish. And sometimes he'd lose the gruff, but he'd keep the accent. So it was an interesting one. It was you didn't know what you were gonna get that day out of Colin, but he was always kind and generous. Like it was interesting seeing the change. Yeah, him talk with an Irish voice out of like Oz's face.
Yeah,
like what's going on here?
Are notebooks how you prepare? You mentioned like having a bunch of them.
I think that's how I prepared for this one. I don't think I've done, because I was just so much more afraid about this one than I have been about my other projects.
Why?
Well, because I'm opposite Colin, and then it's like you feel like you're going to be exposed, and then I have the stutter that I have to kind of try and embody, and so it just felt like a bigger undertaking than things I've done in the past. And I had this entire arc I had to play as well, like this 8-episode thing. I wanted them to be very different from the first moment to the last moment, and so I wrote down a lot of stuff and just memories and things, and like just trying to get to a place where any scene that's happening, it's almost like there's a whole world of history that no one's ever gonna know, but maybe I felt different doing it. When I'd be rehearsing it in my room, or when I read it for the first time, I'm like, oh, interesting, okay, cool scene. And then I'd go sit down and write for a few hours about, different things that have happened in his life at this point and that point and this point and that point. I'd come back to the scene, and all of a sudden, it's just so vastly different, the way that I feel about reading the scene, and the way that I feel going through it. And it's just, and I don't know how much change there actually is, but it felt right. And that's, I think, that's all you're chasing, is this you're sitting there speaking to this person, looking him in the eye, and you believe what you're saying. That's really what you wanna, that's what I'm chasing,
My last question is, was the Sopranos like an inspiration for the show? Because I see a lot of people saying it looks like the Sopranos and Batman had a baby. And now you have the Penguin.
Yeah, no, people are making the comparison. Was it you'd have to ask the creator and the people who wrote it if it was an inspiration. I can definitely, it feels it at some points for sure, because with the Sopranos that was really interesting, one of the things that the Sopranos that was really interesting, before everybody comes for me, is, that's the only thing? No, it's just, one of the things I did that was super interesting was, there's a family thing going on behind Tony Soprano. It's not just about the stuff, honestly, most of it is about the family. It's not about the going-ons of the mob and the mafia, It's about what is the dynamic like between his family and the people that he loves. And that's, I think, where a lot of our show lives too. A lot happens plot-wise in terms of him vying for power and that, but so much also happens behind that. Who does he love? Who does he care about? How does he protect those people? And I think that's where the show will find a lot of its like similarities.
Yeah, because you do see like Oscobb has a relationship with his mom, and his mom plays a big role in
which is such an awesome like dynamic that the two of them have. From the very first episode, you go, what the hell is going on here? Because it's such a. I read the script for the first time that first episode, and I don't want to give anything away, but it's like it's incredibly. It's just so different from I think any mother-son relationship that we've seen before. So it's like, what does it take to make someone like Oz happen in real life? They find the answer to that question.
It takes a lot of skill to be able to talk about it without actually talking about it. And you're doing a really good job.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to say so much, and I'm like, just don't.